Oh, there we are. I didn't have my volume up. We just heard Strongman Holler, and talking to David Budge here, who's lead vocalist on that. So that's a Taj Mahal song, right?
Indeed it is, and I first heard it on an album in which he duetted with Big Bill Morganfield, one of Muddy's sons, and it was one of the inspirations, actually, for us to sort of regroup and take a run at making Resurrection. We always loved the way Taj and Bill did it, but we wanted to throw in our own twists. I think all artists want to do that. So in our version, of course, you hear the amazing Billy Cross doing his thing on slide guitar and just, I think, making our version come alive, much the way Taj's patented, gravelly, almost wolf-like voice, counterpoint with Morganfield's, just makes that version smoke.
Talking with, David Budge from the Druids of Stonehenge, came out with their brand new release titled Resurrection. The Druids were formed in 1965 in New York City, and after all this time, they've just come out with a brand new release. And at the time, I'd like, David, if you could talk a little bit about the club circuit that you guys were so much a part of. You were kind of a house band at is it Ondine? Is that right?
Ondine is the pronunciation, but you're right. We graduated to that role after playing the fraternity party circuit on the Columbia University campus. I think at heart we'll always be college men. It's a great time to grow up, and when you're doing that and also playing music, I think you've got the best of two great worlds. But yes, we formed in 1965, and by June of '66, we had gotten good enough to nail an audition to play it on D. I think that the residency developed because almost from the get-go, people like the Stones and Andy Warhol and Tennessee Williams and, the who's who of Manhattan society and the cream of the crop from the British invasion, found their way to Ondine because of the word on the street.
So you guys actually played in front of these other artists at various times.
I remember singing Get Off of My Cloud and looking down into the audience and seeing the grinning faces of Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, and the late Brian Jones.
Oh, my God.
And Mike, I can tell you, I nearly lost it, because there they were, and I unabashedly admit that they were a huge influence on the early Druids, and we covered, I don't know how many songs, easily a dozen.
Yeah.
Because on Saturday night, we had to do 7 sets. Friday and Saturday night, we played 7 shows. It was 40 minutes on, 40 minutes off, 40 minutes on, 40 minutes off. And, we kept up with that pace. But in order to do that, we needed a repertoire. And in those days, the Stones were always a go-to. So we're amongst that select group who've not only sat in audiences being entertained by the Stones, but we've actually had the privilege of being on the stage and entertaining them, although we didn't know they were going to be there.
Yeah.
And, it blew us away. And they were very kind afterwards. They sat and talked with us and told us that, they really dug us and, keep up the good work. They're very encouraging. I've got to say that. It might have been a brief visit, but it was a meaningful one for the Druids because we did just that. We kept it up.
What other clubs did you play in New York City?
Well, just about all of them.
Yeah.
The Cheetah comes to mind, but really Ondine was the residency that put us on the map. And no disrespect to the other venues, but we had the distinct opportunity during the summer of 1966 to have an R&B band open for us. That band was Curtis Knight and the Squires.
Oh, yeah.
And the guitarist of Curtis Knight and the Squires was a cat that I think everybody knows, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, wow.
And I had met Jimmy when he was playing guitar for Little Richard up in Syracuse, where I think I mentioned I went to school, earlier in '65, and we instantly renewed our friendship when he walked in with Curtis Knight and the rest of the band. And it came to pass, amazingly enough, that Jimmy didn't have the dough to continue to pay the Belclair Hotel its weekly rate. And I remember he looked down one night, and I said, "What's wrong, Jimmy?" He said, "Well, they're going to throw me out of the Belclair." And as fate would have it, my parents and my brother were gone for an extended time. And I said, "Jimmy, I've got my parents' apartment 2 blocks from here, man. Why don't you just crash with me?" And so for going on 3 weeks, that's exactly what he did.
Wow.
And I sort of got a preview of what he was cooking up for that first Experience album. And I begged him to teach me guitar. He tried, and at the end of those 3 weeks, he said, "David, do me a favor. Stick to singing." And I knew he was right.
There you go.
That's what I've done.
Speaking of which, let's cue up another one and hear your vocals. This is David Budge on the Druids of Stonehenge, Resurrection, their latest release. What do you think?
Well, we want to change it up a little bit. Let's go to Superstitious Blues.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Yeah, that's a change of pace, but again, another fun moment for us.
Here we go, Superstitious Blues from the Druids of Stonehenge and Resurrection.
Black cat crossed my trail. I ain't superstitious. A black cat crossed my trail. Don't you dust my broom, I might go to jail. If my right hand itch, I get money for sure. Said if my right hand itch, I get money for sure. But if my left eye jump, somebody gotta go. The dogs are howling all over my hood. You got the dogs to howl all over my hood. That's a sign of death. That ain't good. Superstitious, black cat crossed my trail. I ain't superstitious, a black cat crossed my trail. Don't you dust my broom, I just might go to jail.